Whew. Today is the day. All right, so we're finally gonna get this bad boy painted. What's got to be painted? So not really think about it overall, not that much. The side art's gonna go on. This has been prepped and sanded. We might go through it one more time just to make sure that it is ready for that vinyl. But all we're gonna really paint is just the bottom. I'm gonna touch up the insides here so that when you put the T-molding on, you don't have this washed out, worn out black. So we'll paint the insides there, which I'm gonna get some overspray on this. It's no big deal. We're gonna have graphics go there. Also, if you'll notice the immaculately taped off intersection, I want this to kind of look as stock as possible. We're gonna keep the CRT in this. So let's go ahead and try to maintain the stock look of everything because this is a great looking cabinet. It really doesn't need that much. Now we had made one big change, and that is the wheels on the bottom. I'm willing to live with that. And if you're not, well, sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but we are going to try to retain the stock appearance. And so I wanted to tape off on the inside and not paint everything black. Just this inner portion here looks like that's the way that Neo Geo did it stock from the factory. So we're going to do that. So we'll start with spray painting this stuff in here. That way I can get in all the crevices. Spray paint in there. And then we'll do just a quick sanding on the black base and go ahead and roll that on with some latex paint. And then we'll be ready waiting for the graphics. Let's go. This is all taped up because I think I want to just keep this color intact because I don't want to have to repaint this. And if I repaint this, I'm going to have to repaint this. And if I repaint this and this, I'm going to need to repaint this. And this metal does not look that bad. It's got one little thing here. I'm going to give this a good wipe down, and I don't think I need to paint that at all. I want to leave that intact. That looks pretty. It's got a really nice finish on it. I want to keep laying up bunch of layers of paint on it. But this all looks good in here. This really just needs to be wiped down a little bit, and it's fine. And it's all intact. So let's leave that. Let's leave all this stuff. That's why we're just going to paint all that down low. Moving on. Okay, so finally we get to work on the coin door and get this thing completely finished. So as you can kind of see by this little outline, I painted the whole assembly and I thought everything was great until I decided to go ahead and change these coin return buttons. Now these are brand new Suzo Haps. What was in there was orange and not Hap, I think, or maybe it was Hap. I'm not sure. It was just so orange, it was nasty. So when I went to take off the bezels and take these out, the bezel's completely cracked. These screws go into the back of the bezels. They just, actually thread into the plastic. And that just got brittle over time, so I had to replace those. So now I got a brand new set of bezels, these beautiful things. And you can see they have little posts in the back that line up with the holes here. Now these line up perfectly, except for this one. For some reason, this hole is a little bit smaller. So I just kind of start here. You got to kind of press it in there, line it up good. Kind of do this, really get it in there. There you go. Once you feel that clunk, go ahead, line the rest of them up, and you're good to go. Of course, before we do that, we have to take our beautiful Suzo Hap reject button. Coin reject. It's not a reject button. The button itself is not reject. It's rejecting the coin. So that goes in there. So put this inside. And then put the whole assembly in there. Once again, fitting this corner first. There you go. Now, if you do it once without this in there, it makes it a little bit easier. Swing this open. Careful. And we want to go ahead and install the 4 screws that hold it in place. Okay, so you really want to line that up nice and straight and then just feel it. You want to make sure that moving the camera, you want to really make sure that it's threading in there nice and tight. You want it to be snug. You don't want to screw yourself. Get it? Screw yourself. Watch it as it threads into the plastic, and when the metal bracket bottoms out against the door, you know you've gone as far as you can go. Really illuminating the back, and of course you want to make sure before you shut the door and forget about it, make sure it doesn't interfere with your return mechanism. Beautiful. All right, so as per our usual agreement, I like to use these little keyless locking cam mechanisms. Go into your coin doors and everything. I just don't like to have a bunch of keys. It's a private collection. If this was ever sold to somebody else, they could change these out and do what they want. But as for me, I'm not going to have a bunch of keys in my arcade. I just want to be able to lock these and unlock these by hand. Only problem is with this, it's just a little bit too big. We're going to have to modify this ever so slightly. So grab a file and just file down the bottom. And there you go, just like that. No big deal. Beautiful. Okay, I know I just said that I wasn't going to paint this because there's no reason to. But there's a little bit of reason to. There's some slight rust in here and just a little bit in there. And I just can't not. I can't not. So we're going to take this apart and we're going to paint this this metal piece. And the Lexan looks pretty good. So I think we're going to leave that alone. But I mean, what the hell? I did the control panel. I might also do this too. I don't like this. As far as I can tell, that's standard. That's stock. Everything appears to be standard and stock. But I just can't leave well enough alone. I just can't. So I've got a plan. We're going to change this. We're going to change this to something a little more permanent. Wood screws are fine if you're going to put it together once and never take it apart. But if we're going to take this apart and service anything, I want those changed. But we'll deal with that later. Let's go ahead and reveal what's behind. And just as I thought, look at that. All stock. Beautiful. So this is the main wiring harness that comes up from the, there we go, arcade board. So we'll just let that go, and it just fell all the way back. Great. And then we have the speakers that, we're going to have to just unplug these. So let me label left and right. No, we don't need, no, label, we're good. We don't need that. We don't need no damn labels. The short ones go on the left. Yeah, like that. These are going on the right. Beautiful. And beautiful. Colored wires on the right too. Okay, cool. All right. This is your complete assembly. Look at that. Custom crafted out of plywood. You can see this is the main board that controls the marquee lights. Stock SNK. I mean, this looks great. This is absolutely beautiful. Standard 8 ohm speakers. We are actually going to change those also. But yeah, not too shabby. All right, let's put this down. Wait, yeah, see these holes are too tight, too exact. And see, you can tell causes the ripple. So we'll see what we can do. Maybe hit it with a little bit of heat, or maybe it'll just relax on its own. And then we'll drill these holes a little bit bigger, and it will allow this to lay flat whenever we tighten it. There's a bit of rust there. Just coming off. So we'll clean this up. We'll be very gentle. We don't want to scratch it. We don't mess it up. You know, be very gentle with it. And yeah, let's clean this up. Get to work on it. Eee. Oh. Oh, good. Oh, God.
The marquee cover is secured in place by these latches that latch onto these screws. But you can see how these screws are skinnier than the notch in the latch. So I thought I would wrap some red tape around the screw to help fill up the void in the notch in the latch. So that way when you close this thing, it doesn't rattle around. It's much more secure. Now earlier in the video I talked about how the holes in this Lexan cover for the marquee were too tight. They were exactly the right size of the posts that are on the marquee cover. And what that does over time is that when you press this thing on so tight, the heat gets to it and it begins to warp. So what I wanted to do is drill these holes out just a little bit bigger to allow for a little more play in the marquee cover so that maybe, just maybe, it'll lay nice and flat. Now let's go ahead and move around to the back of the cabinet where I have the covers off because I wanted to change the fasteners that hold those covers in place. And since I'm back here, I thought it was a good time to go ahead and replace the repaired chassis. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that this thing works.
Okay, so an exercise in OCD. I know this is going overboard to say the least, but I don't care. this is the way that I am. So got the thing all nice and painted, and the way this usually attaches, you got 6 coarse thread drywall screws. Not the way we're gonna do it. Not the way we're gonna do it. If you want to take this off over and over again, it's eventually gonna wear out the wood, right? It's eventually gonna wear out the wood, and that's not good. It rhymes. Sorry. So what I want to do is swap out, instead of going with 6 drywall screws, we're going to go with 4 1032s. Yeah, 1032 screws. These are the truss head screws, stainless steel, of course. And we're going to have, just like on the bottom with the casters, we're going to have some captured T-nuts on the back side there. So what I did is I had the whole panel in place, used a small drill bit, this one here, which was the size of the 1032. Drilled that all the way through the panel where those screws were. And then once I had that, took the panel off, and then I went with a larger drill bit right here. This is like 1/4 inch, I believe. And this is going to be big enough to accommodate the throat of the captured nut, the T-nut, this part here. So what you do is put it on the backside and then take a pair of channel locks and just squeeze it in and seat it into the wood. And you're good to go. So we're going to do that all the way around, and then we'll have a easy, reliable way to fasten the panel in place and then remove it without having to worry about messing up this, you know, at this point, 30, 35-year-old wood. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff done. We got the OCD portion of the video out of the way, changing out all those wood screws to T-nuts and stainless steel bolts. So that's done in the back. Also, it's retaining the Marquee up there. Everything is locked in place. Everything's secure. I took the wiring harness, the stock wiring harness, kind of put that back into the cabinet. None of the T-molding is on. Obviously, none of the artwork is on because we're going to go ahead and relocate down to the arcade. Not in the arcade itself, but in the room next to the arcade, because that's where I want to put on the graphics that did come in. They finally came in. I'm super excited about that. So let's get downstairs. We're going to have to do the graphics. We're going to have to do the T-molding and that stuff down there. And of course, we'll put the control panel on and get rid of all the old switches and everything. But let's go and do that downstairs where it's nice and comfortable and, you know, not as hot as it is outside. All right. I did throw a couple screws in the monitor. The chassis is in. I think the reason why the chassis is screwed up is because the monitor wasn't even screwed to the cabinet itself. So the monitor, the whole trip back from Nebraska, was just bouncing around. So it's not good. All right. Easy. Easy, kids. Let's flex my awesome muscles and come on. This is easy. No problem. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. I've got a Neo Geo, and I'll be glad to see this thing down in the basement forever. Because I'm probably not gonna. Stop singing, Fox. This is serious business. Come on, YouTube audience, what are you doing? You gonna help me out here or what? No, of course not, Fox. You got it. Of course, to be fair to you, you're not really here. In fact, this isn't even happening now. You're not even looking at now. You're looking at what happened earlier. Almost home free. Come on, baby. It's controlled. Watch the top of the big red. Look out. Let's open the door. Come on. Open the door into the house. Can you do it? I can do it. I am 2 steps inside the house. I'm probably out of shot. You're gonna have to trust me. This is all going really well. Ugh. Oh, what a beautiful sight to behold. All this red and black is awesome. So here we go. Finally, everything is down in the basement. I'm very excited. Got the cabinet, obviously the artwork, as you can see, is here. Of course, if you've seen the other videos, we have the control panel freshly rebuilt. The coin door itself, the whole coin mech assembly is also down here. Miscellaneous parts and pieces, new speakers, new T-molding. The stainless steel corner edge guards are there with new stainless hardware. Everything is ready to get put back together with one exception. I have one thing coming that still isn't here yet, and that's the lit marquee, the LED lit marquee kit. It replaces your entire marquee. So that's not here, so we can't finish that. And unfortunately, that means that everything else is also not going to be done until the next video. That's right. We're going to wait till that comes in, and then I'm going to put all this stuff on, and there'll be one last video before you get to see this beautiful big red beast in the arcade. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. You have a blessed day, and I will see all of you